and this is Rim Talk, episode 2, and I'm here with Jalyss, who is essentially the one who created it all and started it all. And I'll be talking to her today just about her time at Westchester, how she created Rim Talk, and what her plans are going on in the future. So, Jalyss, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Heads up, I'm a little stuffy, everyone, so I might sound a little nasally. Yeah, so I wanted to start off kind of simple. I know you're a first gen, so that's really important because a lot of people, I feel like, are first gens at this school. They have a whole big first gen thing. So what was it like? Like, how was it like being a first gen?
I can definitely say it is very challenging but rewarding. So being able to like walk into an environment that you don't know anyone, you don't know anything about college. I mean, you didn't have those people in your corner to kind of like give you advice with what to expect. So it definitely was a challenge that I had to figure out on my own. In the process of that, I was able to, find myself, experience a lot of, good things and bad things. So I definitely think, being a first generation is definitely challenging, but rewarding at the same time because you're kind of like a fish thrown out into the ocean, trying to, maneuver and figure your way out. And I honestly think that I've done a great job thus far with being a first generation, with kind of like being my own mentor in a sense and, gaining mentors along the way. So, being a first generation student is definitely challenging but rewarding.
So you're definitely like a mentor for me. I definitely look up to you. I'm a first gen as well. So what advice would you give to first generation students?
I would say do it all. And I say that to say that when you do everything and you try everything, you again experience a lot, but you also get to have that opportunity and feeling to connect with other individuals. So my advice would definitely be like go out and meet people, go out to those events, go out and interact with people that you may not know or you may not have this similar traits or similar things that you guys like. But I think that's what is important and so different, right? You guys are able to have different like qualities and kind of just be able to be like, okay, like how can we bring your quality and my quality, bring it together and either create a friendship or create something, whether it's on campus or even out of school. So I definitely would say like put yourself out there, go and talk to people, go and explore the environment that you're at.
Talking about doing it all, you literally do it all. You changed majors. So why did you change majors? Like what made you do that?
So, changing my major was definitely like so unexpected, and that's why they say like the most beautiful things happen unexpectedly because I had no plans in changing my major. As you know, COVID happened. I came in as a freshman. Everyone got sent home, and it was just a situation where I ended up, moving to Florida. On my own and just figuring out there. I ended up getting into the modeling industry out there and then branching off into the creative world with media, and it was just something that I really, really fell in love with. So that being said, that's kind of like what started it all, like walking into David's studio, and I give him that credit all the time because if it wasn't for him and I was at a studio and was like, hey, let's shoot, I would have never been where I am today. So, that's me changing my major brought back into like finding my passion and myself out in Florida. So I took everything I learned and everything that I gained out there, brought it back here when I was getting ready to school. And I just wasn't happy in my major with criminal justice. I'm a straight A student. My grades is amazing. Anything that I am a part of, I love doing. So my biggest thing with that was like, I didn't love criminal justice no more. It became very difficult. It became very boring. It was just something that I just was not good at anymore. And I couldn't really pinpoint exactly what it was that, like, why am I failing these classes? Why am I, why did I not feel that fuel that I felt when I wanted to be an FBI agent before COVID? and it was because that's not where my heart was at anymore. My heart was in media, my heart was in being on air, just being a mentor, kind of just anything media was just where my heart was at. So then that I had to, with 4 credits left, I had to make a huge decision, like graduate early or switch, and take this last, full 4 years here at Westchester and have a degree in something that makes me happy. So it was a really big risk that I had to take, and I took it, and it's the best thing that I ever did.
I was like, you went from your original major, which was criminal justice, and you just said how you had like a short time span left to do that. So it's amazing you found out what you wanted to do. But what challenges came with it in that short time span that you had to adjust to? Like, did you learn anything from it? Because that's like a really short time span.
So, and take this advice because like it's hard to do, right? It's easier said than done. Like, take that risk, and I say that because it's like, again, easier said than done. Like, a lot of people are not going to take a risk like that. A lot of people are going to be put in a position where they're graduating early and they have one more class to take before they cross that stage, and they're going to be like, no, I'm switching my major. Like, I'm going to say like 95% of people are going to just be like, I'm going to take the class and just graduate with this degree. So I kind of had to really sit with myself and be in a position where, do I want to do that and have something under my belt that I'm not going to be happy with for the rest of my life? Or am I just going to deal with, being here, graduating at 22? Because mind you, if I would have graduated early, I would have been 21. Like, I'm still so young, done college. It's like, that's crazy, you know what I mean? Like, there's still people that, graduate early that, they go straight into the field and stuff like that. But there's people with degrees who don't even use their degree, right? They end up doing something else that they, ended up figuring out that they love way after they were done school or things like that. And that's why I have so much respect for entrepreneurs, because it's like, again, a college degree, I say does hold weight, but there's people that are so successful because they are doing what they love. And I think that's what people, tend to not understand. When somebody has a passion for something and they love what they're doing, they're going to be so successful at that, at that thing. So, I would definitely say the one thing I had to like really learn and also accept was taking risk and having to, deal with the outcome of that risk. Whether it's good, it's bad, it's the fact that I'm able to go to sleep at night and be like, I at least did this and I tried it, and it either was for me or it wasn't.
So, talking about taking risk and everything, you decided to not do an internship. You decided to do the practicum. So how did Ram Talk become Ram Talk? Because you're doing that for your practicum, but how did that become like your idea for it?
So it's crazy because Ram Talk was not supposed to be a thing, right? As far as how I imagined it, like I didn't think it would, grow to this extent. And I think that was just because it came with fear, right? It came with fear. I was nervous, and I just kind of like, I guess I could say I was like, didn't believe in myself. Before, like I said, I'm new to the major, you know what I mean? I had so much catching up to do, and my biggest thing is networking. So, where my head was in the summer when I switched, I was like, okay, well, I need to meet new students in the department. I need to grow close with students in the department. I need to make new friends. I need the professors to get to know me. I want to get to know them. I want to network within, people who work within the DMC, get to know them, be familiar with them, and vice versa. So as far as writing down my goals, Ram Talk was something that I had wrote down in the summer to do. And when I had came into the department, it was kind of hard to maneuver with that because obviously you have to go do a lot of protocols and everything with Westchester. When it comes to making a new organization, when it comes to, using the DMC, there's a lot that you have to, go through to be able to, use these resources. Basically, it's not something that, you can just, hey, this is my plan, this and this, I want to do this. There has to be a lot of organization that comes with that. So I guess I got like scared, so then it was kind of, we're in spring semester, I ended up going to the practicum class. I kind of didn't expect Ram Talk to be brought up in that class. And it was like, we were sitting there and she's like, okay, you guys need to make content, you guys need to, whatever you want to do in your field, do that, right?
Yeah.
She put us in groups, and I was like, okay, well, I'm in the broadcasting and on-air TV, group, because this is what I want to do. And it just became a situation where I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring back Ram Talk. So I brought back Ram Talk, but it was still so much holes that I needed to fill. Like, okay, how am I going to do this? Like, how am I going to use the DMC? How do I want this to go? Like, there were so many different ideas and things that I could have done. And that being said, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to try it. I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
And again, like, something that I'm super proud of is that, I was able to kind of like get out of my shell and, stop discouraging my own self.
Yeah.
And doing it, because so much has came out of that.
I say that it was like a really good idea, because we don't really have, we have options at Westchester, but like not really specifically like broadcasting, interviewing. So what was that your original goal with the Ram Talk, to bring that to Westchester, or was that just something that just like you saw like needed to be filled here?
So I feel, as far as with like interviewing, and like again, my biggest thing is like panels, split it being like student run. I feel like it was just like the communication department, I feel like didn't host a lot of like events that students were able to, insert themselves in something that they wanted to do.
Right? That experience.
Right. It's usually like faculty or alumni comes back and they'll do it. So I just feel like, like as students, it's one thing to sit in the classroom and learn, these skills and go and take a test on it and go and do notes on it and, watch videos on it. But it's another to be able to be put in a position where, okay, the time is now and you have to take everything that you learned and, like do it. So I just feel like to go back to the whole situation with like, panels and interviewing, it just wasn't something that I seen was like student run, especially like within like the multicultural organizations. You know what I mean? Like I've been a part of plenty my whole 4 years, and I just feel like there was a lot that people didn't really go out and like interview them, or it just wasn't a big thing. Like I don't know. And mind you, let's say this too. I was a criminal justice major, so obviously I wasn't really tapped in with the communications department or anything media and communications. Plus COVID. Let's be real, COVID changed so much. So the dynamic of like, organizations and clubs and everything prior to COVID was probably amazing. So coming back and dealing with that as like an organization, and so many had this issue, that is like the involvement, like getting people to come out, trying to figure out like what best, fits people, or like, do we have to change this? It's just a lot. So I was just trying to, fill a hole, and then I felt like, okay, well, this is missing. And I just felt like, I wanted to bring that out.
And that's definitely like really incredible, because there's people like that's something I want to do, and there's other people who want to do that. And like you look at schools like Ithaca and Temple, and they have so many options for students. And like Westchester, like this could definitely help Westchester with that. Turning back around, you talked about panels. Your first panel was a few weeks ago. What was that like? If you want to like talk about what it is, like handing the mic over to you, and also like how did you organize that? Like what was that process like?
So guys, let me tell you. The process of that panel was a lot. It was like, I can't even put into words how much it was. You know what I mean? Like Mariana, you firsthand know everything that I was going through, everything that
it was a lot.
Had to go through behind the scenes to make that panel happen. And again, like let me be the first to say that I was scared. I was nervous. I had this idea in my head, I just was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Like again, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna organize it, I'm gonna host it, I'm gonna moderate it, I'm gonna get the sponsors, and like all I can say is like unbelievable. Like that's as much as I can say, because it's like, to be able to have an idea and execute an idea is like hard, because again, like there's so much time for somebody to get discouraged, or so much time for somebody to back out and be like, I can't do this, or even the day of like get on stage and be like, I'm sorry, like I can't do this. You know what I mean? Like, and a lot of people don't talk about that. You know what I mean? The process of having an idea, doing something, executing it, or it's like you may not think that idea, is good enough. So it's like that idea can sit in somebody's head for months, years, and like, or they will never share it, because it's like you're discouraging again yourself. Or it was a type of situation where I was put in a position where okay, this is what I want to do. I have to do it. I have to go for it. I have to, I want to host a panel. I'm going to moderate it. I'm going to get everything together. And all I can say is that it came out, everything and more.
Yeah.
It was a learning experience for me. I was able to get on stage. I was able to, be on stage with amazing women.
Yeah.
And I think that was like my biggest thing. The panel discussion was women in media. You know what I mean? It was Women History Month. I wanted to shine a light on people that I know that are in this position and, deserve a spotlight of how it feels as a woman to be in this field and, the hardships and accomplishments and everything that we go through. So I just kept talking about it for days. Like even after me and my family went out, and I was like, it was like a moment of like, I can't believe I just did this.
Yeah.
And, it taught me so much about myself and how much I know that I will be able to do in the near future because that was just the first step.
That was a confidence builder.
It was like trial and error, basically. It was like a type of situation, okay, Jalyss, the ball's in your court. What can you do with this ball? And I did what I know, the skills that I have and everything that I learned. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And I did.
Yeah. So kind of the panel was women in media. So what advice would you give to women who want to go into media? Because it seems like hard to believe, but like it is still relatively new seeing women in media.
So the advice that I would give is be yourself. Stay true to yourself. And this is the advice. This will always be my number one advice and something that I will always preach because going into not even just media, but anything in life, like the first thing to do is be you.
Yeah.
And I say that because being you and staying true to who you are and your passion for whatever you want to do is going to be the first step to get you into those doors. Your skill, and I say this all the time, like a skill set and a skill level, that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I love what you do. You're amazing at what you do. But what about your personality? What about your poise? What about your character? All that factors into people who want to work with you again, people who want to bring you back into those rooms.
Yeah.
Like, are you really who you say you are off of social media?
Yeah.
Like, that is the biggest thing. So, for the women that want to be in this industry, it's not an easy industry. The main thing about this industry is networking. Like, networking will get you into so many doors within media because now we're in a generation where there's so many content creators, there's so many influencers. Like, it's easy to blow up overnight. It's easy to be, post on Instagram and do get readies with me's, and there's a lot more of, people in media now than what there was back in the day. So now it's kind of like you're in a situation where like, how can you stand out? By simply being you.
Yeah.
By simply staying true to what you want to do. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that will always be my number one advice. You stay true to you and carry yourself, a certain way, and keep going and don't lose sight of anything else that's going on around you or comparing yourself to anyone around you. You will go so far because the one thing that people don't have is what you have because you're your own person.
Yeah, you're your own self. This is kind of off topic, but still on topic. At the end of the panel, you announced you're going to Syracuse. What are your plans at Syracuse? Because it is a big school to get into for media, especially.
So, yes, I'm super excited about that. I'll be attending Syracuse on a scholarship, and that's something that I am so proud of. I'll be going there for broadcasting and journalism on the sports track. So I will be focusing a lot more so on sports, the athletic department, and that's just for the purpose of entertainment. So I want to end up being within the entertainment industry. So the closest thing Syracuse has to that is their sports.
Yeah.
So that being said, I plan to go over there and again write down my goals before I go there, maneuver, network, and kind of execute through that. Big school. There's a lot of people that are interested in the same thing. A lot of people with high skill sets, and honestly, I'm super excited to be surrounded by those people. I'm super excited to learn from them, learn from each other, meet new people, and be around people that push me.
Yeah. Because, like, sometimes it's good to have people with different interests, but it's good to also have the same interests because that motivates you.
Exactly.
Like, creativity bounces off a lot of people like that. So, talking about Syracuse and your future and everything, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Or where do you hope to see yourself?
I always
in 5
feel like
years?
that's a question that people ask and it's so hard to answer. Honestly, I see myself living in LA, doing BET Awards, red carpets, movie premieres. I see myself in 5 years, in a position where I can only grow.
Yeah.
Definitely at some point living in LA, maybe, throughout at that point, experiencing a year living in New York City, kind of being able to touch like the major cities.
Yeah.
But I definitely think being in LA and at some point, being able to get into those rooms that I always wanted to get into and just network.
So you talked about red carpets and all that stuff out in LA. What is one event, like, is your dream to, like, interview or, like, be broadcasting?
That is a great question. That's a great question.
Because there's a lot. There's a lot of those events out there.
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely would say probably the Grammys.
Yeah, music. That'd be really fun.
I think the Grammys right now at this point would be one of the top events that I would be excited to be able to interview at.
Kind of bouncing off that question, who is one person you would love to interview if you had the chance? Doesn't have to be at the Grammys either. It could be sit down like this.
Adriana, I love her. That's somebody that I look up to and aspire. She's also a Latina woman. She's an award-winning, host, and I would love to sit down with her one day and talk to her and network with her. I think if I would see her, I'd be like, girl, you don't even know I look up to you. Definitely her.
So bounce off that. Is she like your role model? Like, who are your role models? Definitely her.
So right now within my career, and what I want to do, I definitely look up to her. She's somebody that I look up to. She's somebody that I kind of study. I watch her interviews, her TV show that she actually just ended this past year. That's been around for, I'd say, like a couple years now. As far as like a role model growing up, I didn't really have one. I felt like I was always my own role model. I had people in my corner that kind of pushed me and things like that. But other than that, I always say this. I felt like I was always my own role model.
Yeah. Well, I can definitely say for me, you're definitely a role model. I look up to you so much. You did so much already with for your time in MDC and like the media area. You do a lot. And we talk a lot. And you tell me, you're always busy. And that's how I want it to be this semester. So thank you for the interview.
Of course.
I loved interviewing you.
Thank you so much. It was an honor, to be able to be interviewed by you and to be able to, talk to you guys about Ram Talk and just the progress I hope to make for this to continue. I hope that this inspires more people that come within Westchester for the communications department to start their own thing, to whatever idea they have, do it, execute it, be yourself. Other than that, Mariana, you're next up.
Oh, well, I'll be ready for that.